Hello everybody and welcome to Car Confections. Now sitting behind us is the refreshed 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. Yes, that's a long name, but this is a heavy duty truck and Chevy's giving you a lot of updates for this refresh model. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into those updates and cover this 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. So let's get things started here with the exterior design. Now we have things that have changed and things that have not changed. What has not changed is that this thing is absolutely enormous. Standing next to it, the hood is about at my shoulder height and I'm 5'8", so I certainly wouldn't want to get ran over by this, I'll put it that way. It's a very, very large vehicle. Now, in terms of the styling though, Chevy has revised this to get this up to date with the latest Silverado look. So we've got a more squared off front end here. It's a little bit wider, a different texture on the inside. This specific model is the LT that we're walking around right now. This is gonna have the black badge here in the middle with the chrome trim. Looks pretty nice. We also have the chrome bumper and our nice recovery hooks through here. Gives you a kind of a more traditional truck look for this specific trim level. Of course, there's a lot of different trim levels you can choose between. Way back there in the background is the High Country Midnight Edition. So you can go for a fully loaded up chrome one, or you can go for a stealthy blacked out one, your choice. We do have the hood scoop up here at the top. That of course has a styling element and a functional purpose. And let's take a look at our headlights. It's looking like we have partially LED headlights for this vehicle.
I'm thinking it's fully incandescent.
Is that an incandescent?
Yeah, these are all incandescent.
Maybe
these are actually reflector beams. Now, of course, you can get LED headlamps with a fancier design on the higher end Silverados, but in typical truck fashion, they do not include those until you get to the higher trim levels.
Now, as we move around to the side, one of the things I like the most about the exterior look are these wheels. This specific trim level has got the 20-inch alloy wheels with a really nice looking design. It's kind of gray in the middle here, and then we've got these little contrast accents that go through it. Really nice look to this. Of course, this is a heavy-duty truck, though, so you have to have that ultimate functionality even more so than the styling element. So we still got the nice, beefy, all-terrain tires. That a way you can go out on the construction site, tow that big trailer, and you don't have to worry about things and objects like nails, stuff like that. We've got our Z71 badging, and we also have our 6.6 liter Duramax diesel branding up there. We'll talk about that a little later in the video, though. Got the gigantic mirrors, way bigger than my head. These are the towing mirrors, of course, because that's the primary function of a heavy-duty truck. So you've got all the functionality of that. You also have blind spot monitoring built into the mirror itself. These are going to be auto dimming, it appears, and we also have those projector lights on the side. Speaking of the side, let's let Mason back up here and let's kind of take in the whole scope of this truck. It is absolutely enormous, of course, because it is a heavy duty truck. We've got the crew cab. We also have, looks like perhaps the 8-foot bed. This is a very, very large bed, as you can see, to make for probably, what do you think, Mason? How long are these trucks
I'm saying
usually?
Like 250 inches, probably. This is not going to fit in your average garage,
no,
put it that way.
definitely not.
And we're switching it up. Here I am at the side. One thing I do want to point out before we go to the rear of this Silverado 2500 is that you do have a side access step, which is nice. So you can just hop up here and get anything you need out of the bed. Although I will say, quite the jump, because this is one tall truck. For us short kings, these trucks are a little bit tough. Now, as far as the rear design of this refreshed Silverado 2500, I think less is going to be different here in the rear. I think this looks pretty similar to the outgoing Silverado heavy duty, but one thing I do really like is that we have blacked out Chevrolet branding throughout the entire middle area. That provides a nice contrast between just anything in the tailgate. Then as far as our taillights are concerned, these are going to be fully incandescent. I assume if you go for one of those higher models like the High Country that you would also have some LED taillights that make it look a little bit fancier. Down in the lower area, we're going to have a chrome bumper on this LT model. You're going to see this tow hitch because, of course, with a heavy-duty truck, what are you going to do with it? You're going to want to tow. And if you max this out, you can have up to 36,000 pounds of towing. So I'm pretty sure that literally could tow an entire house. I'm not even sure what weighs 36,000 pounds, but it is a lot. So you can certainly have pretty much anything be towed with the Silverado heavy duty. And then going to the bed itself, there is a really unique feature that I want to show you. So you will notice we don't have a handle on this particular LT. We just press the button and that's going to lower the tailgate. But this is actually a full power tailgate. That definitely was something that was not available on the previous LT trim level of the Silverado HD. So you just press this button right here, fully powered. That's a quite bougie feature for a heavy duty truck like this. Now inside the bed itself, I'm not gonna open up the tailgate again, but it's gonna be a pretty signature bed. You have a nice bed liner. You also have some lighting on the side as well.
Now I did mention that High Country Midnight Edition over there, so let's take a little bit of a closer look real fast. As you can see, similar overall design of course, but we do have that really nice matte black grille through there. Again, the black branding. We also have the still the hood scoop, but we have much more premium LED lighting. So this is what that upscale lighting arrangement is going to look like. The stacked LEDs, the nice bracket shaped LED turn signal indicator. Actually, it kind of looks almost GMC-esque if you ask me. And then we also have our LED fog light down there at the bottom. Taking a look at our wheels, we do have upgraded 22-inch alloy wheels on board. They still look, relatively small because the truck is so humongous. This could do like 26-inch alloys, I'm pretty sure. Blacked out High Country branding because this is the Midnight Edition. Still going to be a gigantic truck, obviously, as we move to the rear.
Yeah, and as we come around to the rear, it looks like we still do have that blacked out Chevrolet branding. Back here you have blacked out High Country branding as well. Here's what your fancier LED taillight arrangement looks like. I think this looks a lot better, so I would recommend upgrading if you're really a big fan of fancy lighting componentry. And your bed is going to look mostly the same. Now, unfortunately, we will not be able to do an interior walk around and tour of this High Country model because, as you can see, we are on a display here, and Chevrolet is asking that we're not inside of that. So let's go ahead and hop back to the LT model over there.
Now, of course, it's always very interesting, to take a look at the fully loaded trim level, but let's be honest, most people are going to choose a trim level like this LT. So let me hoist myself inside here if I can and show you guys the interior. It's a very, very large step. You're gonna really need this. I'd suggest using the optional running boards, especially if you're under 6 foot tall. All right, so now that I'm inside here, really nice animations on these large new displays. So that's kind of the big thing with this refresh model is, just like with the 1500 Silverado, we've got big improvements in terms of the overall luxury inside the cabin, as well as the overall technology inside of the cabin. But before Mason climbs inside and we take a look at the interior as a whole, I do want to point out the seats because it's a little easier for him to look at it from that perspective. It's going to be a cloth seat here on the LT. Nice high quality, feels very durable for getting dirty and all that. I do like the kind of diamond design in the inside, and it's pretty comfortable. Now, as far as the rest of the materials, we do have some nicer ones for 2024. Leather wrap through here, even on the LT trim level. We're going to have some soft touch materials through here, including on the upper part, because I know a lot of people like to cruise down the road with their arm up here. As we move to the upper dash, all this is soft touch plastic as well. We've got a stitching detail through this and the middle section. We also have kind of a faux wood trim, but it's got a little design in it.
Looks like wood mixed with carbon fiber.
That's interesting, but I think it looks pretty good overall. As we come down, this here does have the third seat. So you retain the ability to have a third passenger in here, so you can have 6 people inside of this truck, you know, just again keeping that extra functionality. And that's made possible by the fact that the heavy duty retains the column mounted shifter. So of course the 1500 has it down here. You keep the column mount up there at the top for that more traditional functionality. Now, the technology though, like I mentioned earlier, does improve quite a lot. So this is the 12.3-inch full digital gauge cluster that we've seen on some of the other General Motors products. Really nice and high quality screen. You saw the animations play earlier. It is reconfigurable, of course. And the steering wheel is kind of traditional Chevy look to this. Nothing too radical here. It is going to be heated, and it is manual tilt and telescoping on this model. Let's come over and take a look at storage. This is what the console looks like when you choose to have this third seat. Of course, you can get that traditional console arrangement as well. Taking a look next at our climate controls. Upgraded high quality knobs and buttons here. Is going to be dual zone automatic. We also have a USB-C and a USB-A port. And then on the opposite side, for the driver, we've got the heated seats. It's 3 stages for both your back and your butt and back separated. I do like that. Of course, ventilated seats are also available on the higher end examples. Here's our trailer brake controller. As we move on up, there's a variety of audio systems you can have. This is not going to be the upgraded sound system, but you can get an available Bose sound system if you want the most bang-in audio system that you can get in your Silverado HD. Take a look at the screen. I'll see if I can't open the door up and close it again to get it to light up. There it goes, 13.4 inches, and look at those graphics. Really nice infotainment system. This is the latest General Motors setup, so it does have the Android Automotive foundation. Gives you built-in things like Google Maps, also gives you wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. A little bit of storage up there at the top. Got the auto dim mirror, 3 HomeLink universal remotes. We don't have it on this example, but a sunroof is available. Just keep in mind that even if you get that high country model, it's going to be a standard size sunroof. General Motors does not offer a panoramic sunroof on any of their pickup trucks.
Now you can hoist yourself inside. I honestly think, guys, you could use this as like a pull-up bar instead of going to the gym. Just get in and out of this truck all day long. It would be quite the task. Now, as far as the space back here, this is a heavy-duty crew cab truck, so you're going to have a ton of space. I don't even need to tell you that. There's plenty of space. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is scooted all the way back, and I still have probably, I'd say 4 inches of leg room, so tons of room. Now, as far as the features, this is not a fully loaded model, but we do still have vents down here in the bottom. They are so small, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't be able to feel anything, but I do like that they have included vents on all of the models. We do also have a household style outlet as well as a USB regular smart charging port as well as a USB-C port. So those are very nice features to see on a more basic truck. Now, of course, if you go for the high country, you will be able to have like heated rear seats as well. Now, as far as the center armrest, we do have 2 cup holders inside, a little bit of storage in front of that. The door trim is going to be actually the same as the driver's door trim, so I do like that. Some padded material, some of that more trim piece going through there, leather on your armrest portion, and then you have a ton of storage down in the bottom. Now, Chevy actually took an entire engine and put it on a stand here. So this is your 6.6 liter Duramax Turbo V8 model. So this is actually really cool to just have it out in the open so you can really see all of the components. This is a very complicated diesel engine because, of course, they do have to maximize that 36,000 pound tow rating. You don't get that just by doing nothing. But as far as for this refresh model, you're actually going to have an increase in power. It's going to be 470 horsepower, 945 pound-feet of torque. So you're really looking at some really big numbers there, almost 1,000 pound-feet of torque. And the previous pre-refresh model only had 445 horsepower, 910 pound-feet of torque. So you're seeing a pretty decent boost in power for the diesel model. Now you can also get a gas engine, and Drew's going to chime in with those horsepower figures.
6.6 liters, 401 horsepower, 464 pound-feet of torque. But the critical thing about this is actually the transmission. So the previous gas-powered model was going with a 6-speed automatic. We now have the same 10-speed Allison transmission from the diesel engine. So it's going to give you big enhancements in terms of that overall drivability. help you around town, help you with towing, all that stuff, because you just have more gears to be able to get you the right amount of power, the right amount of torque.
Yeah, and if it's like last year, this diesel engine option is going to be about $10,000 if you want to choose that. Maybe it'll be actually a little bit less expensive now that you have the transmission standard on the gas model. Now, when is this Silverado heavy duty going to be at dealerships? Well, it's actually expected to be at dealerships in Q1 2023, so you can expect it to be at your local Chevy dealership in the next month or two. And if you're looking to buy one of these, won't be too long of a wait. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, we would certainly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. It helps us get invited to auto shows like this where we can show you some of the newest cars first, well before you will even be able to see them at the dealership. So please do that. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram where we have other forms of content, and we'll get you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.